Hello guys, the DB Grinder here, back at it again with another video, and this time it's going to be my Synchro Eldlich deck profile post Megaton, so it's going to have the Dark Dragoon in it. I think this deck's pretty cool, a lot better than I expected it to be at least. I still think the combo decks are better than this deck, and this deck still struggles with those decks. But this is still a fun deck to play, especially if you like playing like trap cards and grindy matches instead of comboing. But let's just hop right into the deck profile. Start off with hand traps. I play 3 Ash, 3 Gamma, 3 Imperm, 3 Veiler. And the reason why I chose these hand traps is because these all stop, pretty much they stop monster effects. Like if Ecclesia or something wanted to add, all of these could negate it. These cards are, well, like Gamma, Imperm, Veiler also hit like Anaconda. I played against like 5 invoked matches yesterday, all in a row. These cards are very good against them, against combo. They're just very good cards. They're pretty much going to be good in every matchup compared to something like Nib, where it'd only be good against combo, and Ogre, where it's good versus like Infernal Knight, but it's not good versus a deck like Eldlich. So I chose these ones, and then obviously I side deck more. And then 3 Jet, and then these are the starters. 3 Jet, 3 Tuning. Sometimes the Tuning does mill the Red Eyes or Dark Magician, and that does suck, but it's definitely worth playing more Jet for the Tuning. And I cut the DDDs. You don't really need more Synchro stuff. It kind of makes it that way when you go second. If you open up too much Synchro stuff, you just can't break a board, because all they have to do is negate Needle, and the rest of your Synchro stuff just doesn't do anything. Then 2 Red Eyes Fusion. I was playing one of this for the longest time, and I put it up to 2. I wanted another starter, and this was the only one I could realistically put in, and without like going over 40. And this card is really good. Like, just summoning Dragoon, it's only 1 negate, and it's a hard negate to out, but it makes it so that way you can discard your Eldlich cards like Conquistador, Wakero, which gets you to Scarlet, so it helps you with that. And then Dragoon's also just really good. Like, it's a negate, going second it pops. You can attack, and then main phase 2 combo. And Dragoon is nuts in main phase 2 and just lets you pop their field. So it's like you out their board and make a field in main phase 2, which is insane. And then 3 Cursed. Of course, you got to run 3 of this if you're playing Eldlich. E-Telly. This can only summon Gamma game 1. And then when I choose to go first, I side out my Gammas for 3 a pointer and the driver for Golden Land Forever. And then I put in Ogre over an Imperm. In most matchups at least. And then that's pretty much how I side going first. Most matchups, like I said again. But the E-Telly is really good. Like E-Telly plus like Veiler, Jet, or O-Lion, our tuning is combo through Imperm or Veiler or Ash. Also another thing I'm going to bring up in this, I think you should Ash tuning now. Because if you Ash Needle, they still end on Dragoon. So I think you should Ash Tuning. Next thing, shout out or comment if you watched this far into the deck profile. So a lot of people just like screenshot and click off. So if you heard this, then now you know something that the people that just screenshot it and click off don't. And then 1 Black Awakening. I wanted to play more Eldlich cards than most lists because these are how you actually grind and win. If you like hand trap your opponent and it goes back to your turn and you don't have anything, then you're obviously not going to win. Like if you just like hand trap your opponent and then on your turn you set a Wakero pass, like you're just losing that game anyways. So you need to make sure that you're actually playing every game. Then 3 Scarlet, of course, 3 Conquistador, obviously, 3 Wakero. Some people were cutting this down to 2. But again, I feel like having more Golden Lands helps, especially in the mirror match or against like a invoked deck. Against combo, these cards do kind of suck. And you can side out like one Walk Hero going second against combo. You can side out Black Awakening going second versus combo. E-Telly, O-Lion. Because you don't need O-Lion to combo when going second. You really don't. But that's it for like the Eldlich stuff. And then going on to like the brick cards, you got Driver. This card does suck to draw. You have to play 3 normals in this deck, which sucks because you pretty much draw one like every single game, or it feels that way at least. And then 1 O-Lion. You play this. I'm not too sure how I feel about it still, but like having the O-Lion in deck is really good. Because it pretty much makes Needle a 1-card access code talker, to where like if you summon Jet off Needle, then you have to also discard a card to get the access code talker, and then like also you have to assume that you didn't use Jet to go up into Needle, because you can like use Needle and O-Lion to make the Mech and Phantom Beast, O-Lion summon a token, and then makes Link Spider with the token, because it takes effect monsters, and then go into access code, which is really good, and it puts an Earth in the grave, a Dark, a Water, and a Wind. It's pretty nuts. But it's there pretty much just for the first turn combo, which ends on Savage Dragoon, and Savage is a tuner in that situation, so they're forced to out it, and then if they out it, you have Garden Rose to bring it back. It won't have a negate, but it's still a big body. So I'm not sure how I feel about this. I think I want to keep the 1 of this in. And then 2 Lord. You don't need 3. 1's not enough. So obviously 2. And then both of the bricks. You have to play them. Honestly, I think this build is better than like the 1 O-Lion, 2, or like the 2 O-Lion, 1 001, or like the pure synchro build, or the Dogmatica. Or I can't say that right now. I don't know why I can't. But there's people playing like the pure Red Eyes Eldlich build, and they're just not doing the synchro stuff, and they're just using Red Eyes Fusion and the I think it's Insight to search it, and they're playing like the trap card. I think that stuff sucks, because if you open up, no matter how many of those cards you open, you're ending on 1 interruption. Compared to like the synchro stuff, to where like through a hand trap, you're ending on 1 interruption. Like by itself, you're ending on 2 very strong interruptions. Dragoon and Savage is not a weak board. They have to out at that turn, or they're gonna become negates again the next turn. But that's it for the main. I think it's a pretty solid main deck. The only things I've even like thought about touching is like E-Telly, possibly could get cut. O-Line possibly. I thought about maybe even like cutting E-Telly and then adding in Souls, but like I really don't want Souls in my deck, but I've just been drawing like these bricks a lot, and they've been making it so that way I can't win games, because like I'll break boards, but then my Dragoon will have no negates because I would have had to use like a Dark Magician from my hand, and I'll end on like 1 interruption, like with like a Scarlet Conquistador, and that's just not enough. But on to the side deck. Again, this side deck isn't perfect, because before events, I probably spend like 2.5 hours building a side deck, and then I tweak it all the way up until the event. So I spent a lot of time on my side deck for events. But on DB, obviously I don't have any events. So I kind of just like throw something together of good cards of theory, and then I test them like while I'm playing. So I'll explain like every card in the side deck. 1 Ogre, it's really good versus the Warrior deck, but also you need it for E-Telly, because you want E-Telly in your deck, especially when you're going first post side deck. And you want to take out the Gammas and Driver, because they suck going first. You want cards that actually can stop your opponent. These don't do anything going first. So then you want Ogre, so E-Telly's live, and that's pretty much why you do that. And if you do somehow draw Ogre and E-Telly, you can just discard E-Telly off Dragoon for a negate. And then 3 Nib. I was struggling versus combo, like I was saying, so I threw in the 3 nib. I took out like the a Gamma Seal and 2 Ogre for the nibs. Like the Ogre was really good versus Warrior, and the Gamma Seal is really good versus like the Invoked Dragoon deck or the Eldlich Dragoon deck, just because like their end boards are just like Dragoon, you just kind of Gamma Seal over it and you win. But the nib is just insane versus like a rock deck, to where like nib plus Veiler can get you dubs that like Veiler, Imperm, Ash couldn't, which is insane. But it's just a really strong hand trap. And then Pankratops, it's just a one of. So it kind of sucks that it's at 1, but it's too good not to play. Just like going second, it's good versus trap decks, but it's also good versus certain combo decks, like the rock deck. You can summon this and out multiple negates. Like same thing versus like the dragon deck. You can like summon this, force seal or beat over seal, force it, and then bait like a savage negate. It's a really good card. And then 2 Gamma Seal. Like I said, I cut the 3rd one. But it's really good versus like the Invoked Dragoon deck or the Eldlich Dragoon deck. And then 3 Evenly. This card is just nuts versus back row decks. You pretty much win if it resolves. And then also in the Eldlich Mirror, this baits Dragoon, or you can just bait Dragoon by activating something like Cursed or Lord Effect, like Graveyard Effect, and then go in the Evenly, and then it hits everything but their Dragoon off board. Then I still don't know how I feel about this card. I think I want to bump Gamma Seal up to 3 by cutting it Evenly down to 2. Just because of how strong Gamma Seal is. Dragoon's mainly like what you want to out against most trap decks now. And then 1 Guardian. Some people are main decking this. I don't think that I want it in my main deck. It's just another golden land that you can use it as that. But its effect makes it so you can make a monster on the field 0, and it's a permanent 0. So you can make Dragoon go to 0 and then beat over it. And this makes it so your Eldlich engine has an out to Dragoon. I didn't want to main deck it because the deck, like I said, struggles with combo. I'm pretty confident versus like other Eldlich decks. I've beat most of them. I think like my deck list is just better than a lot of theirs, and I'm also like a decent player, so I'm just confident in the Eldlich Mirror. But this makes it that way my side deck can out Dragoon a searchable way, so I think that's pretty good. And also versus other like trap decks, when I'm siding out like my hand traps, I can put in Guardian and it will allow me to grind further, because I can use like Curse to send Guardian instead of Walkero, and then I'm up a Walkero and just down a Guardian in that situation. Then Golden Land Forever, when I go first, I want to have a counter trap that's like a Judgment, but it's searchable. This card's really, really good. I'm surprised to not see this on people's deck list somewhere. Then 3 A Pointer. This card's nuts. Like even when I get hand trapped and I end on just Dragoon, like Dragoon A Pointer is so good. You look at the opponent's hand, you rip a card out of it, and now you get to see what your Dragoon has to negate, and then you know what's going to happen on your next turn. You can usually just win after you use a pointer. Then going on to the extra deck, Link Karibo, obviously, Link Cross, obviously, Link Spider. You need this a lot. Because you'll end on a Golden Lord and a Conquistador, like End Phase, Scarlet, Summon Out Lord, Conquistador, Summon Pop your thing, draw for my turn. Then you can just link off Conquistador and the Link Spider, and then go in the Anaconda. You can't do that with just Conquistador and Lord, because this takes effect monsters. And also, Link Spider is just like kind of good with the Eldlich engine, because it just gets these off board to get you to Scarlet. I feel really good about Link Spider, honestly. It's a really good card. And then 1 blocker. This has pretty much just been like a Link 2 to get my stuff off a board. And like a way to discard if I need to. I don't know how I feel about this card. I think I still need to run it. I'm not sure though. It's definitely a card I could cut. I don't have to run it in this build. Then 2 Needle. I don't need 3. Someone told me to play 3. They're like, oh, it comes up. It really does. This format, it just does not come up. It has not came up for me once. Out of all of my testing post Megatons, which I've been doing for like months now, like 2 months, I don't think I've ever had the 3rd Needle come up. Then 1 Mech and Phantom Beast. I'm thinking about cutting this in blocker. Again, these are like 2 free spots. I don't know what I want to put in though. This has came up because not the effect to summon a Mech and Phantom Beast from deck, because that just like never comes up with this. But the 3rd effect to add a trap back from grave. I've added Imperm back to stop my opponent's Alistair next turn. I've added a Pointer back, Golden Land Forever. But also its 1st effect just came up multiple times to destroy something on field, and I can only get to a link 3. There's a pretty good link 3 just to have like multiple effects. Access code, Beat Over Dragoon. Also, this card's huge, and it gets free pops. I don't know why you would not be playing this card right now. Some people cut this for Borreload. So that way they can steal the opponent's Dragoon and then use the effect to burn and break the rest of the board. But I don't know. I think this card's just better in a lot of scenarios. And then it gets to just pop everything. So then it forces out everything instantly. And then it can just beat over Dragoon. And then if you really want to, main phase 2, you can use Talker and another monster to make your own Dragoon. Then Synchro stuff, Formula. So this is here because if you open up Jet plus O-Lion, you end on Herald Dragoon draw 1, and obviously the draw 1 is off Formula. And also middle of the match, if you use like, I don't know, let's say like Valor and Lord to make Needle and it gets negated, you don't have a Link Karibo engraved to then go in the Link Cross and then make your Predaplant plays. So then you have to use your Needle to go in the Formula and get a draw. And that's came up multiple times too. I think it's worth having Formula, especially with like the flexible extra deck right now. Because like Blocker and the Mech and Phantom Beast, they're kind of cuttable. I think I want to cut one of these for Crystal Wing. I think it's going to be Blocker for Crystal Wing. Just because Crystal Wing does so much damage over Dragoon. And I'll talk about the Crystal Wing play in a second. Then Metal. This comes up in all the plays that you do. You obviously have to play this. Herald. Again, if you open up O-Line, you make Herald. Other than that, you're not really ending on Herald. You don't honestly make Herald all that often. Sometimes you can make it like mid-combo. Just to make it so that way like your Dragoon is safe. But that doesn't come up that often. It's really just there for if you open up O-Lion, so that way you don't have to jet discard something else and Needle summon O-Lion from hand. You can jet discard O-Lion, full combo, and then still have cards in hand for Dragoon, and then still have like a pretty good end board with like a Formula draw too. And then Garden Rose Maiden. This could also be TG Hyper Librarian. I'm thinking about changing that. I'm probably just because like the Garden Rose Engrave is really cool that it can bring back the Savage. Also, if you play Crystal Wing, it can bring back Crystal Wing, which is nuts because unlike Savage, Crystal Wing will just have its effect again. So you can like summon Crystal Wing and then make the Predaplant, summon back Crystal Wing, and then you have Crystal Wing Dragoon, which is insane. Really good at breaking boards. But if you play TG Hyper Librarian, then Game 2 and Game 3, if you think your opponent has droplets in their deck, or if your opening hand isn't very good and you need a draw, then you could go for TG Hyper Librarian and end on Dragoon Herald draw 1, which is like the same opening as if you would open up Jet O-Lion, because it's just Herald Dragoon draw 1, but it's just if you open up Jet. So I think it's pretty solid being able to do a play like that plays around Droplet. and then also gives you a draw. But that's going to be it for the deck profile. I feel like this was a pretty good deck profile. I explained everything in depth. Also like the things I would change, so you can keep that in mind when building your own Eldlich deck. Also, a couple questions I've had is my thoughts on the Dogmatica stuff in this deck, because you can summon Ecclesia from your hand, not use effect, and then go into Predaplant. But I don't think the dog stuff is good in here, even though like you do have the extra deck room. Like the Mechanphana Beast and Blocker could both be cut for an Elder and the Ash Dragon. But then you also have to just put them into your deck and play more cards. The people that are playing that right now with the Dragoon stuff are playing like 45, 50 cards. It's a lot of Eldlich lists playing a lot more than 40. But I really like the 40 list. You see Jet very often. Jet's like an auto win a lot of the time, especially now. If you go first and you see Jet, unless if they gamma you, it is hard to lose. I haven't been nibbed yet. People are only side decking nib, and they don't side it in versus this deck because they're scared that they're just going to make Anaconda, Summon Dragoon pass, or activate Red Eyes Fusion pass. But that's going to be it for the deck profile. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't seen the combo video for Jet Synchron that I made before, make sure to go check that out. The DB Grinder signing off. Peace.